Thank you for joining us today. We hope you're safe at home. Obviously, it's a time of uncertainty at the moment, but as promised, we are happy to bring you some exciting news today.
Yeah, just before we roll into news about our products, probably just good to make mention of where we're at in Vietnam at the moment with COVID-19. Very impressive the way the government has dealt with it here. We currently are on 80 days consistent without any cases in the community. Obviously there's cases in quarantine bays, people coming back to Vietnam, but there hasn't been a community transmission for 80 days, which is fantastic. The government handled it very well. For us as a company, that means we've managed to keep our production flowing as normal. In fact, we haven't lost a single day of production, which has been great. So very much business as usual for us here in Vietnam. We've had some supply chain issues that we've worked through. I think everybody's dealing with that around the world. But in terms of our production schedules and our development plans, involving new products also, we've really been able to power through this period, which has been great.
Okay, so that's some pretty positive news, and we've really experienced this swift recovery in Vietnam, and it gives us the confidence that the rest of the world will eventually follow suit, and we'll all get back out in the water sailing again. So, without further ado, we bring to you the Seawind 1370.
So this is a design that's come from a collaboration between Richard Ward, the company founder of Seawind Catamarans, and the Yacht Design Collective, Francois Perouse and Roman Scalari. And really the brief is all about getting the right balance between performance and comfort to deliver a blue water cruiser really suitable for a couple to sail around the world with a good level of comfort, but also having that performance pedigree to be able to make those big open passages. With a light ship weight of 11,000 kilos or 25,000 pounds and a wing deck clearance of 2'7", it will be able to perform in a whole range of conditions with that good performance pedigree and design. As you'd expect with any modern catamaran, we're using all the latest materials and construction techniques. So we'll be using resin and fusion, we'll be using carbon reinforcement and all those critical areas that need that engineering, and with a combination of e-glass. And that's all about delivering a very strong and stable platform where people can sail big open passages, making sure we've got a safe structure there.
And paired with twin helms that are protected under a large single-level cockpit, this is going to be a great cruising catamaran that will set the new standard for offshore sailing. Okay,
so the layout of the boat will come in 3 distinct variations. The first version is the owner's cabin on the port side. So this is a 3-cabin boat with the full port side dedicated to the owner. So you've got a port forward large island bed for ease of access, and then you've got the owner's cabin coming back to the companionway. So a nice generous space for the owner's side, plus a very large generous sized port aft bathroom. Then on the starboard side, you'll have a guest cabin in the forward starboard area, a midship bathroom, and then a starboard aft berth. So you've got 3 cabins, and then with a galley up and generous space in the saloon. Now that works really well with this classic Seawind design that we use, using the Trifold door opening up into the cockpit. So we get this beautiful open space going from the saloon into the cockpit. So you get a lot of accommodation space on the wing deck.
And you've also got the opening for windows, right, Mike? So you've got airflow coming through the whole saloon. The boat's going to be very airy. And also worth pointing out, you've got we've actually incorporated a walk-in wardrobe in the owner's suite in the forward area. And that's a standard feature on the owner's version, right?
That's correct, yeah. And that it's a good point to raise. The natural ventilation is something that we've always managed to do well on the Seawinds. And if you look at the 1160, 1260, sort of our trademark, I suppose, when they came out was the front opening windows as large as we possibly could, combined with our Trifold door system where you're opening up into the cockpit, you get this natural ventilation coming through. And when you're on a mooring or you're an anchor, just being able to have that airflow coming through the boat is so critical.
And we've also actually got a forward-facing full nav station right inside.
Exactly, yeah. So being able to sit inside the boat, you've got obviously your chart plotter, and you'll have navigation controls there if you'd like, to be able to sit inside the warmth and the comfort inside the saloon. And it's all been designed so that when you're either at the nav station or if you're sat in the saloon seating area, you'll be sat so you can see over the opening of the windows. So you've got a full panoramic view from inside the nav desk or the saloon area, which it's actually quite tricky to do in terms of a design process, but it's critical, and it's what we've always had on the smaller Seawinds, certainly.
So you can see the nav table facing forward. These forward windows will be opening. We've got a nice open saloon seating here. That table will sit 8. We currently got it arranged for a 6-seater with a movable plinth here. You've also got a very similar galley style to our 1600, where you do have a wraparound effect, so you can get yourself protected if you're under a seaway. 3-burner stove and oven as standard, and I think you'll appreciate it. It's a big saloon, and you'll see in the next slide we actually open that right up into the cockpit. There you go. That's the famed Seawind Trifold door system, where you've got the cockpit and saloon completely open to one single level area.
So I think a lot of people are probably familiar with that, but in case you're not, it's a door that comes down, so you have 3 doors and they fold onto themselves and then go up into the roof of the cockpit to get it right out of the way. And for many people, they'll sail with the doors tucked up into the roof, for 90% of the time, and it gives such a generous space for being able to use the boat. And that's quite often people are using catamarans because they want to be able to have friends and guests on board. But just actually, even if it's just the 2 of you sailing, it's a nice, easy way to sail, because you can be inside. Someone can be inside reading a book, and someone can be outside, and the person at the helm can always see the other people on the boat, which is part of our sort of feature in Seawind, that having those twin helms there, you can always see the people that you're responsible for on board, which is really helpful.
And what really makes that single level helm possible is these big open windows right throughout the saloon. You'll notice none of the galley is actually above the window height, so everything is open in front of your helm. We've got electric windows that slide down to reduce any double glare. So you're literally, it's like sailing through a pilot house if you're in bad weather. You can sail completely protected from the elements, and if it's a fine day, you can sit up on the top side, you can have the wind in your hair, and you can look up at the sails.
That single level aspect's actually, again, it's one of those things that's quite difficult to do, but the cockpit coming right the way through into the saloon is single level. So again, there's, when you're manoeuvring around a boat as yourself, you're walking around the boat, getting rid of all those steps and opportunities for trips and falls is quite important. So that was a part of our design brief, was to make sure we've got nice single level going all the way through for access and ease of moving around. Okay, so we've got the owner's version GA up on the screen here, and as we can see, so you've got your 3 double berths with owner's bathroom here, and then we have a single bed in the starboard forward area, which we've set up as a convertible space as well. So it's a single bed, but it could also be converted into a little workspace where we can have a bunk that we can flip over and have as a workbench, or you can just have it as additional storage. So in this version, we've got on the starboard side, we've got a bathroom here on the midship. Now that'll probably get used as your day head when you've got guests on board, and that way the owner still has that full owner's side on port side. Also, the saloon table here drops down, as with all of our other boats, so you can get an extra 2 sleeping here. So you can sleep a total of 9 on the owner's version.
Okay, so we've also got, as Mike pointed out, 2 dedicated charter versions. So this is our 4-cabin, 2-head version. And I think this will be a popular version for people who are wanting to put the boat in charter to make a good return, but then take the boat out of charter and go off cruising. So this boat will still work quite well for that. It's also a great option for large families wanting to go cruising. And the next version we have is a 4-cabin, 4-head. Now, this is probably the type of boat you've seen in charter in the Caribbean, and this will be a popular charter model for investors looking to make a maximum return on investment.
So just looking at the owner's cabin, and this is applicable for all the models, is just looking in the cockpit in this plan view, you can see you've got your twin helms, and The good thing about having your helms in this position is that the field of vision going through the boat, we saw the panoramic saloon windows, your point of vision going through is that you can actually see all four corners of the boat from each helm. You can also, when you're in this position, as I said, with a single level floor, you can see all of the people that you're responsible for as a skipper as well. So you've got friends and guests that are going to be likely sitting around the saloon. You've got other people sitting behind you. It's very easy to see everybody that's on board. So if you've got inexperienced people sailing with you, or younger kids and family, the Seawinds actually provide a really safe environment, because you can restrict people from going out of the steps, and that's it. Everybody's in that little space there, and it's full width going across here, single level. So very, very safe and very easy to control people if you're the skipper, which is really important.
It's also actually really good for entertaining, right? This is quite a large area. You've got the inside dining area, which seats up to 8 people, and you've got this outdoor coffee table, which is an adjustable pedestal and can fold and unfold. So you can use it just as a coffee table when you're lounging around the cockpit, but you can actually unfold it, raise the table, and you can sit 6 people around this table in the cockpit. So great for dining outside on a nice summer night.
Yeah, and with that, obviously, in line with all of our Seawinds, we've got the barbecue space at the back here. So if you're doing some entertaining, or it's just a couple, sure, you can cook out of the back here, as well as you've got your main galley inside the saloon. This arrangement here, again, this is the trifold door, so we've got the 3 doors here folding up, and then you've got this sort of breakfast bar arrangement where we can sit outside up here, sort of backing onto the galley.
Tell us about storage, Mike. I see we've got big storage areas up in the bow here that's not on some of our other models.
Yeah, so this is slightly different from the smaller Seawind. It's more in line with the 1600. When we see people really going cruising, there's actually quite a lot of equipment people bring on board. You know, you get into the inflatable stand-up paddle boards, or electric bikes, or folding bikes. So you do need a pretty decent volume of storage. So up in the bow, especially on the port side, we've got a large storage area here, accessed through a hatch at the top. Obviously, you've got the standard hatches, deck hatches here, which is typically where you're going to have your fenders, mooring lines, etc. Anchor in the centre here. Large sail locker forward of the mast base. Now that's somewhere where you might have a generator, you might have any sort of large equipment, large options that you might put in there. And then this starboard side is interesting also, because you've got this space which can be converted. Now this is, under this bunk is internal, but you can also convert this into additional storage. And then when you come back to the cockpit, you'll have storage lockers underneath the 2 helms, and we can convert those into a cockpit fridge if required, and then we'll also have some storage in the back here. So plenty of storage on board.
Yeah, so lots of storage for a little board. So.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here we are in the owner's cabin. So this is the entire port hull. So you go down the port companionway, you've got a sliding door to close off this hull. So this is all your hull as an owner. Moving forward, this is what we're seeing here. Now we're standing at the main bulkhead in this position, looking forward. So you've got wing deck bunks, common on many of our other Seawind models. So this gives you a lot of space. It enables you to get the bunk fit in over what would otherwise be dead space. And then you can see, moving forward, you've got a standing, full height walk-in robe with a seat to be able to get changed and a bit of privacy there. So this is really, this is apartment standard living on a 45-foot catamaran.
What's happening down here, Shane, when you go after the main bulkhead?
So keeping in trend with the rest of our Seawind models, everything really we do is about being practical and ergonomic. Yes, this looks great, and we've spent a lot of time making it look nice and modern, but we've still started off with a practical aspect first. So you've got great access to both sides of the bed. So as a couple, you don't have to climb over one another to get in and out of bed. You've got 2 steps up here onto the bunk, and you're in bed. And that's very important, that everything, there's handholds everywhere, everything's quite comfortable, there's no sharp edges, and we also, you'll notice we've added storage at the side. So, it's 2020. You can now plug your phone in and charge overnight, and you've got your devices all there, plugged in, charged, ready to go, and accessible.
Yeah, and also we've really focused with this boat on lots of natural light, big openings, down the top side. Structurally, that's obviously important to get right, especially around the main bulkhead, but it's all been engineered to have lots of light coming through. We've got the twin deck hatches, and obviously they're opening forward, so when you're on anchor, that air is just going to channel straight down through those hatches and through the boat. So important to get that above the bunks, so you get the air channeling through and then out through the back of the boat, so you get a really good airflow.
And they're flush hatches, right?
They're flush hatches, yeah.
So no trip hazard on deck.
Exactly right. Yeah, so lots of storage underneath, some drawers, and then, as you say, we've got this walk-in wardrobe in the forward, and we're really trying to get some nice soft furnishings inside. So trying to make it still lightweight, but just make it nice and comfortable and warm. Also in terms of the interior finishes.
This is going to be a boat that you won't want to get off. This has been designed for someone to live on and spend a lot of time.
Okay, so this is the owner's version port half bathroom, and similar sort of configuration to some of our smaller boats, the 1260, 1160, for example, where you've got an outboard sink, toilet, and then you've got a shower space behind it. Nice, again, we've got this big opening window, so lots of natural light coming in, and then we've also got an aft a port light on the back, which is on the back steps of the cockpit, again letting lots of light come in. So there's just a small sort of bulkhead. We've got a glass bulkhead on the outboard side to keep that light coming through, and then a nice shower in the aft compartment.
And these big open windows here, Mike, these have been made possible through the carbon fibre reinforcement and a lot of that extra engineering we've put into these top sides, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So they're recessed. Those large openings are actually recessed into the top side. So the glass is actually sitting slightly back. So it's not sitting proud. It's within the composite aspect. So it's not the widest part of the boat. And then we've got opening hatches along the side. So in the bathroom, you've got an opening hatch, and you go forward to midship, and you've got opening hatches as well.
That's actually quite unique to Seawind as well, right? We've spent a lot of time on engineering that to make that possible, to have this large openings in the side here, as opposed to small port lights.
So looking at the exterior of the boat, we've got carbon davits coming out the back of the back beam for the dinghy. And then, as with our smaller Seawinds, we've got an overhead main sheet track on the Targa arch. And that really gives a level of safety and comfort, where the running rigging is away from the cockpit, where you've got everybody inside. You'll have access. You'll be able to see through a cockpit roof window. You can see where your mainsail is up. When you're on the helm, you'll be able to look up, and that means you can see obviously where the main is, but you can also see your luff telltales, which is vital when you're sailing. But it gets that area of the rigging away from anyone that's on board. So from a safety perspective, that's really nice. It'll have a line driver coming down the Targa to be able to take that track from upwind to downwind.
Yeah, and also a lot of these lines will run, well, all the lines will run back to the helms, but they all run under deck. So there's no more lines visible on the deck. There's no organisers on deck. All the primary lines will run below deck and then back to the helms. Yeah, and again, this is sort of a design feature, not necessarily the concealed lines. We have concealed lines on the 1600, but throughout the smaller Seawinds, we've always made sure we run as many lines back to the helm as possible. And that, when you actually have the twin helms, that's quite possible to do. And it's important though, if you've got a couple sailing, and quite often with a couple, you've got one more experienced than the other, and all of a sudden, you need to go and do something for a line adjustment, you need to go and do some sort of sail trimming. If that person can stay inside the cockpit and there's only two of you on board, that just makes the safety of sailing so much higher. So by being able to make sure you've got everybody in the cockpit when you're in rough conditions, you don't have to go out and go up and clip on and go up to the mast base. It's such an important safety feature that we want to incorporate that into all of our designs. But you can cross oceans on this boat, not leaving the cockpit.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, so we've got the sail plan here. We have a 116 square metre sail area for upwind sailing, and that's about 1,500 square feet. And you'll notice on the bow here, the bowsprit we've taken this from our 1600. It's a carbon fibre bowsprit, which is built into a structural longeron. That means that you can fly your screecher or or code 0 permanently affixed to the longeron. The longeron does not protrude past the LOA, so that point you will not need to be retracted. So you can keep that sail as a ready-to-fly, furled-up sail for light air sailing. And the bowsprit, which is carbon fibre, does not need to have any water stays. So like the 1600, it's removable or retractable bowsprit. And it's self-supported, so it's not going to get fouled up on any of your mooring lines or anchor bridle.
Okay, so below the waterline, this boat's going to have mini keels and spade rudders. Very robust for cruising, blue water cruising definitely. And then for power, we've got twin 40 horsepower Yanmars, sail drives with 600 litres of fuel or 155 gallons.
And they'll be upgradable to 45 horsepower Yanmars as well. I think this is an important feature here to highlight as well. This is keeping true with what we just designed this boat for. As a really robust liveaboard cruiser, mini keels and a protected sail drive leg. It's very important. This is what you get with this arrangement, where you have the sail drive mounted between the mini keel and the rudder. Your sail drive is protected from both sides. You are less likely to get things like ropes fouled in the props, and you're very unlikely to actually run that into any rocks or anything that's going to do some damage.
Yeah, exactly, and those mini keels will be able to support the weight of the boat. If you do beach it or you want to do service and maintenance, you can sit it on the mini keel, no problem. So Shane, there's been a lot of technology advancements in the last few years, especially in the sort of electrical area. Talk to me about the kind of power generation and what kind of specification you expect to see on the boats coming through.
Yeah, so we're noticing more and more that people are trying to go away from using diesel generators to get their power. And the technology is now becoming possible where we strongly believe that we're at a point where we can do that and have a well-equipped boat completely running off solar and other auxiliary means. So the standard boat will have 2 flush mount panels mounted on the back of this extension over the targa arch. But many people are going to be upgrading to larger solar arrays, which we can offer. And we can actually fit as many as, I think it's 10 solar panels on the roof, which will give us a total just over 1,900 watts of solar. That's a huge amount of power. That's more than we currently offer on any model that we produce. And it's going to be enough, we feel, to be able to power things like, definitely all your DC loads, most of your AC loads, and even in some circumstances, air conditioning for a short amount of time. That's really going to be made possible, however, by the addition of the new technology we've uncovered with Mastervolt in their alternators, which, paired with the Yanmar engines, will give you up to 200 amps an hour on each engine, so potentially up to 400 amps in optimum conditions. But realistically, you're easily going to be able to produce 200 amps out of your motors when you're cruising. So running your motors for an hour or 2 a day is going to give you enough power to then run air conditioning and things like that overnight.
Yeah, so you're kind of doing that in lieu of a generator, right? So you're
That's right.
Getting rid of the generator, you'll be getting a lot of power out of your boat motor.
And this is really made possible because of the technology in lithium batteries these days. The standard boat will come with AGMs, but it will be upgradable to lithium batteries, which, from what we've been seeing, I think will be going to at least half the boats will be launching will most likely have lithium batteries through the coming years.
We're already seeing that through on the 1600. They're all lithiums, and very few boats now coming through the AGM. And it's all very well to generate all that power, but you've got to be able to store it, and that's where the lithiums really come.
Yeah, it's actually not about the weight saving, which people originally thought with lithiums. It's more about the ability to take charge. AGMs can only take a small amount of charge. A standard alternator would surpass what the AGM can take, whereas the lithium batteries can take something like 600 amps of charge. So everything that the solar can put out, everything the alternators can put out, they're going to be able to take them in.
But also, it's the working capacity, right? So the AGM, you're only using sort of 45% of capacity, whereas the lithium, you're taking down to, we put our safety cutoff at 20%. Yeah. I think you can go below that, right? You can go to 15 or something like that.
But we run it as a safe level.
So with the Mastervolt system, you actually shut the batteries down when you get to your safety threshold, which we put at 20%.
Yeah. So this is going to make this boat a very easy to run, self-managed electrical system.
And with that, when we find the boats are getting spec'd with the lithiums and big solar arrays, we're quite often seeing master vault and C-zone going in as well.
That's right. Yeah, so that's a great way to manage it and to understand what's happening with the loads on board.
Yeah, great technology, and you can see all the different aspects of your boat. Anything that's switched on, you can see the loads being drawn. You can identify what are the high consuming, low consuming items, and then you can actually manage it away from your boat as well. You can get the C-Zone app, and really really nice technology that's available.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us again today, guys. We really hope you enjoyed what you saw. We really think this is going to be a successful model and probably one of the most interesting models in the mid 40-foot size range. We don't have a definitive date yet for hull number 1 going in the water, but we are aiming to have it in the water by the end of 2021. So look out for that. If you'd like more information on the 1370, we've just updated our website. That's now live. You can jump on www.seawindcats.com and click on the 1370 model, and you'll get all the information that's in this presentation and more. If you'd then like more information on delivery dates, on pricing, and availability, you can reach out to your dealer. Your local dealer can be located again on the Seawind website. So jump on the dealer page on the Seawind website and you'll find your local dealer. And they'll be happy to help you out through this model and giving you the pricing and availability. Thanks for joining us again, and stay safe and take care.
Thank you.